Welcome to Proven and Probable, where we focus on metals, mining, and more. I'm your host, Maurice Jackson. Joining us for a conversation is Mickey FULP, the mercenary geologist, as we will discuss, is it time to get into uranium? Mr. FULP, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thanks a lot, Maurice. Always my pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you on our show. Mickey, we have some interesting developments going on in uranium. You were one of the most trusted names on the subject. I know a number of our speculators on this show here want to hear more about uranium. Beginning domestically, what do you see happening in the U.S. under the Trump administration that may impact uranium?
Well, there's a couple of things the Trump admin has done that is positive for uranium. First off would be the recent National Security Council resolution that would require utilities, I should say, to buy their electricity from U.S. nuclear power plants and coal plants. So this is an effort, once again, to put people back to work in the extractive industries, namely uranium, nuclear power plants, coal mining, and coal-fired power plants. In addition, not all of it has to do with Trump, but it's a movement that includes the Congress and uranium companies, et cetera. The DOE, under Secretary Rick Perry, who was the governor of Texas, a significant uranium-producing state in the past, they are restricting the DOE sales and barters of U.S. stockpiles of U-308. This year, they've cut those back. During the Obama administration, 5 to 7 million pounds a year were dumped on the market to support the cleanup of the Portsmouth enrichment facilities in Ohio. And that was that's a union operation. So it was basically to keep 800 union jobs going. And so now there is a House bill that is in commit or passed out of committee. It still has to be passed out of the Senate and the House in the 2019 budget, but they are budgeting funding for this out of the budget this year versus the DOE untimely dumping of uranium on the spot market. In addition, the DOE has recently killed the mixed oxide fuel project in South Carolina. Mixed oxide fuel is the waste left over from nuclear power plants, and it's processed and can be reburnt. So that's certainly going to help uranium domestic miners. I'm not sure if it really helps the U.S. position with regards to our significant imports of foreign uranium. And finally, in January, two of the largest uranium producers in the U.S., UR Energy and Energy Fuels, filed a Section 232 petition with the Department of Commerce, and that has to do with national security and the fact that last year we imported 98% of our uranium needs, and this proposal would require U.S. federal utilities and agencies to buy all their uranium from domestic uranium miners, and also limit imports of foreign uranium to 75% of our needs, with the remaining come from domestically from uranium miners. So there's a whole number of things in the U.S. that look positive for the uranium industry, and all those have happened in 2018.
You know, all of these sound like they're going to be great catalysts for uranium. But to add on to that, we have more information here coming from the international standpoint out of Kazakhstan. For someone not familiar with Kazakhstan, how important are they in this discussion?
Well, they're quite important. They've become the world's largest uranium producer over the last 15 years, by far the world's largest. They now produce on the order of 40% of the world's uranium. And they have really supplied the increasing demand over the last 15 years. We're using more and more uranium every year because we have more and more reactors. So most countries, most mines have either maintained their status quo or have dropped in uranium production, and that's been made up by the Kazakhstan mines, the ISR mines in Kazakhstan. So they cut their production 5.5% in 2017, and they are going to cut it another 7.5% this year. So from I think the high was something on the order of 65 million pounds, and that will be down to about 56 million pounds for 2018. And that basically has to do with the low price of uranium. At uranium price, which today is $23.50, no one can make money at those prices.
Which leads to my next question here, not holding you to a price, but the aforementioned indicates that you would see uranium prices eventually move up. Is this the right time to get some issuers?
Well, I've been saying it's the right time for quite some time. So I think a strategy, if you're a contrarian, we all know that uranium's going to come back at some point, and it's going to come roaring back. We see now that hedge fund speculators from Wall Street to the Silicon Valley are starting to position themselves. The Kazakhstans have just sponsored a new physical uranium vehicle called Yellow Cake, and they're going to devote 25% of their annual production to this basically storehouse of physical uranium. So that's 15 million pounds, 15 million pounds a year. So it looks to me like the time is coming, and it could be imminent. When this happened before, when the speculators came into the market, and especially the hedge funds, that was 2005 to 2007. That's when uranium went from $10 a pound in 2004 to its peak of $135 a pound in the summer of 2007.
It's like Rick Rule once shared with me, everyone is a contrarian when the price moves up. I agree with you. This is the time to be there.
Well, it really is, and there's one thing. Rick and I we do share a lot in common. Number one, we share a birthday, but number two, we share an investing philosophy that we stick to, and that's contrarianism. And we talk about this on occasion. And if you're a contrarian, you've got to have patience. So you get in early and you stick by your guns. Hopefully you pick good companies from the beginning that have staying power. When this whole Black Swan event, Fukushima, came down in 2011, I don't think any of us expected that 7 years later we would be looking at a spot price of uranium that is less than 1/3 of what it was before Fukushima. So it's $23.50 a pound right now, and a couple of weeks before Fukushima happened, or maybe a month, it hit a high of $72 on the spot price. So it's been a long time coming, but it looks to me like it may be sooner than I would have said it was at the beginning of the year.
You referenced quality names. Can you give us some issuers that have your attention?
Well, I'll tell you who I own in uranium space. I own Energy Fuels. I've been a long-term shareholder of Energy Fuels from I owned the predecessor company that was taken out, Strathmore Minerals. And so I've owned that company, I think since 2007. And I own URZ Energy, which is a relatively new uranium company, an explorer. And I was a founding shareholder of that company in its private days in 2010. And we did a transaction on that company last year, about a year ago, or it was completed actually about a year and a half ago, and acquired some of the old Strathmore / Energy Fuels assets in Wyoming. And then I own Uranium Energy Corp, and it is a past producer, uranium developer in the western U.S., specifically in South Texas and the Powder River Basin of Wyoming. And I've owned that company probably since about 2010, something like that.
Interesting. You didn't mention any names in the Athabasca. I would have thought I would have heard some, but thank you for sharing those names, Mickey.
Well, I have a little bit different philosophy in uranium than I do in my other speculations. In uranium, I'm very focused on production or near-term production. I'm very focused on domestic U.S. uranium producers because we have ISR, and I tend to shy away from speculative plays, exploration plays in the uranium patch. Now, I have in the past owned and made significant money on Athabasca explorers, but let's face the facts here. Anybody that's got a uranium discovery in the Athabasca Basin, I'm talking major discoveries, they're 15 to 20 years away from seeing yellowcake come out of a mill. So I'm looking at shorter term opportunities. Certainly if I see things in the Athabasca or even in the U.S., speculative plays that I can get in early, that would be a strategy. But at this point, I think you want to buy U.S. producers because they only need about 35, 40, let's say $40 uranium. ISR producers, whereas new developments in the Athabasca Basin, you're looking very long time frames and probably upwards $65 to $80 a pound uranium to make them work.
Point well taken. Sir, before we close today, last question. What did I forget to ask?
You forgot to ask me when we will see each other next. And I think you can answer that as easy as I can.
That should be the Sprott Natural Resource Symposium, the 17th through the 20th of July in Vancouver, British Columbia.
That is quite correct, sir. And I will be speaking on exploration, and I am on a couple of panels which have nothing to do with uranium, but we should also say that I think we will both be attending Jayant Bhandari's Capitalism and Morality Symposium the day after the Sprott Conference.
Absolutely. I was just about to reference that, so you took my thunder away there. Mickey, for someone listening that wants to get more information on your work, please share the contact details.
You can reach me at contact@mercenarygeologist.com. If you send me an email, you will get a response unless you are a troll. My website is mercenarygeologist.com. There's a lot of free content on that, and my Twitter feed is @mercenarygeo with nearly 62,000 followers.
And last but not least, please visit our website, www.provenimprobable.com, where we interview the most respected names in the natural resource space. You may reach us at contact@provenimprobable.com. Mickey FULP, the mercenary geologist, thank you for joining us today on Proven and Probable.
Thank you, Maurice.
All the best to you, sir.
Thank you for joining us today on Proven and Probable. Remember to like and subscribe for more conversations with the most respected names in the natural resource space. Check out our website at www.provenandprobable.com. The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.